Yeah, I shot myself.
Sure. What's your name?
Michael Hill.
Michael Hill, and you shot yourself where?
I don't know. I can't move.
Okay, can you tell me a general area of where you're at?
I'm about 2.5 miles west on E57 off of 169.
Are you in Greene County, sir?
I don't know. I just blew up again. I just blew up this one on my arm. Oh my God! Oh my God!
Sir? Are you there, sir? Sir?
The initial call was at a sheep farm very close to the Greene County-Boone County line, and it appears that the person had accidentally shot themselves.
Give a shot. What's your location?
On E57, go down the road till you hit the bridge. There's a sheep farm right there on the south side of the road. I'm in the back by the John Deere tractor.
Okay, we have medical. We got officer en route. Okay.
I can't feel my legs. Please hurry. Please, please. Oh, I gotta go.
No, stay in line, sir.
Oh, no.
The call just ended, and it could have been a circumstance where he accidentally hit the button, or maybe the call was just dropped by the tower. When the officers responded, they weren't sure what they had.
Oh my God.
They had somebody that appeared to be alone, in shock, injured by a gunshot wound. He wasn't even sure where. All he knew was that he was laying on his back and he couldn't move his legs.
Where you shot, sir?
I shot myself. I don't know. The gun just went off.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
Michael Hill.
Shane. Stay back here, man. Stay back here. I work here. Shane's my friend.
I was about 20 miles away from him, working at the other farm.
Is he all right? Yeah, just give him a second, all right? Let him take care of it.
Shane calls me and says, I've been shot. I jumped in my vehicle, and I told Shane, call 911, I'm on my way. I called his mom.
And he said that Shane had been shot.
Jessica!
So I ran to get Jessica, Shane's wife. She come to the door and she said, what's wrong? I said, Shane's been shot. We've got to go. We've got to go right now.
Breathing shallow.
There was just an accident, and it's pretty bad. That was really all I got. I jumped in a car and started driving.
And when we got there, paramedics was working on him. I ran to Shane.
My son. That's my son. Shane!
I mean, my son, you couldn't keep me away from him. They had to hold on to me because I was trying to get to him.
Don't crowd him, all right? Just let them do their job. Let's do their job.
I was pretty distraught. I could see him 50 feet away from me, laying there.
I'm Jessica, his wife.
Then you don't. Hey. Hey, good.
Hi.
I want you to meet somebody.
They met through my brother Jason.
Shane.
Jessica.
Nice to meet you, Jessica.
Yeah, me too.
She was in a foster home at the time and was running away and doing all kinds of stuff. And Shane was there and picked her up off her feet.
Let's bring your shoulders up. You got it. You got it.
My brother was very passionate about Jessica right away. He was madly in love with her. He wanted to take care of her, and she needed somebody to take care of her. She liked to go hunting with him. She enjoyed doing all the same things that he did. That was exciting for him. They were a perfect match. They seemed like the perfect couple.
Shane was extremely happy with her. She was his world. She ended up getting pregnant. And of course, that was the key to tying the knot right there. So they ended up getting married.
Well, they had a daughter in 2002, and then a son the very next year. As you can imagine, Jessica and Shane were just over the moon. They were finally kind of living out their dream of starting a family together.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too.
Shane was very good with his family. He loved his children, loved Jessie. He lived and died for her.
He's gone.
No! He had passed away. He didn't make it.
No, Shane!
Everything was so upsetting. Everything was up in the air, and all anybody did was cry. Nobody knew what to do.
A lot of things going through my mind, but it seemed to me at the time when we arrived that it could be an accidental shooting.
I was going after a dog. My gun went off, but I can't move.
He thought when he shot at a dog, he thought that it ricocheted and come back and hit him.
He worked for a sheep farmer, and so Shane went there that day to take care of the sheep. Shane carried the firearm to take care of animals that might be harming the sheep and those kinds of things.
It was actually part of Shane's job. He had to scare off any feral dogs to keep the livestock safe.
He was shot right in the center of his back. There was a significant wound in the top of his shoulder. And we were wondering how that got there. Is it an exit wound from the back wound after the bullet had reached his spine? The first responders that were there found a loaded gun at the scene laying next to him on the ground.
What kind of gun did you shoot yourself with?
A 1911
It's a .45 caliber 1911 Colt semi-automatic gun, and he does give a description of that gun and says that that is what he's carrying. There's a lot of talk initially about his handgun. How do you do that? But we know that injuries can happen in odd ways and in odd fashions.
You hear people on a regular basis just shoot a gun into the ground, and happens to be a rock just underneath the dirt just a little bit, and it ricocheted and come back and killed somebody. I mean, it just happens.
We obviously come to a lot of scenes where we obviously can play out what happened. Some cases we don't really know what's going on. So going into the end of the first day, we knew the second day was going to be that postmortem examination, and we were going to get some more information from the autopsy that would either help put this case to rest or further the investigation. It wasn't until the next day before we even knew about the second 911 call, because it had gone to a different 911 center. The location of this farm was very close to the Greene County-Boone County line. It's not uncommon for calls to be routed to a different law enforcement center. I took that second phone call and I listened to it no less than 10 times.
Where are you at, sir?
I just talked to somebody there. Get me back on with him, please.
Okay, can you tell me a general area of where you're at?
I'm on E57, about 2.5 miles west on E57 off of 159.
Okay, you appear to be are you in Greene County, sir?
I don't know.
Sir? Sir?
Just lift this one up again, please, Eric. Oh, my God.
What, sir? Where are you at? What's going on, sir? Sir?
It's so easy to miss the first 2 or 3 times you listen to that call, and then you finally put it together. This is a gunshot.
So he's in the area of 57 and 230th. The weapon, sir? Are you there, sir? Sir? Okay, 57 what? Deer Avenue. Boone County, Greene County, point to point, 1033, Boone County. Stay with me.
Sir, just lift this one up again. Oh, just lift this on my arm. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Stay with me.
In the second call, you can hear a second shot being fired, and Shane thought, I've shot myself again.
Sir, I'm just trying to figure out where you're at. Stay here with me.
And as the call drags on, he gets a little more weak. You can hear it in his voice, like he's struggling to breathe.
Stay with me, sir.
It's a very hard thing to listen to. It was a very hard call to listen to.
Is long before you can hear that he's taking his last breaths, that he's dying. I think it's very disturbing to hear it, but it's also a good piece of evidence for trying to solve what happened. So you got to look at it from both perspectives, I think.
You got to be unlucky enough to hit yourself once, but how unlucky does a guy have to be to shoot themselves twice?
It just doesn't make sense. My brother was an excellent marksman. He didn't make mistakes.
Shane has always been a hunter, a fisherman.
He liked to hunt and fish. That's kind of what he did. He could live off the money for, all winter long just by trapping and hunting over the winter and do pretty good for himself, really.
It didn't matter what weapon it was, what gun or knife or bow. He knew it inside and out, upside down. He could teach you things that people that built it wouldn't know.
I don't see it possible somebody that is that knowledgeable about guns could accidentally shoot himself.
Law enforcement were open to both propositions. Maybe his gun had discharged, or that there was foul play.
Hey, detectives, I found something over here.
We did find a shell casing about 40 yards from his body that it was apparent that he had fired at least one round at some point that morning. He mentions it in the 911 tape. He had fired a round at a stray dog to keep him away from the sheep farm.
I was going after a dog.
Maybe this is an accidental thing, some kind of a freak thing, because we had no evidence that anybody else was at the crime scene.
When you hear the second gunshot, you can hear that it's in the distance. If Shane Hill would have fired this weapon, you would have heard a loud bang. It wouldn't have been a distant mute sound.
It didn't make any sense for this to have happened the way that they were saying it had happened.
Anybody that would be around a gun very often would be able to tell a gun in a distance versus a gun right next to you.
It's certainly the elephant in the room at that point. That's obviously the loudest thing, the loudest piece of evidence that you have on a 911 call is the shot.
It was obvious at that point that it was somebody else. It was not him shooting him.
That's really when this whole thing really kind of started to shift all at once. Like the whole building's coming down. It's like this thing is a murder case. We're gonna get some more information from the autopsy that would further the investigation. The doctor called me and he said, listen, I really believe that this injury to the shoulder came from something above him. And the ballistic information came back.
They found there was a .30-06 bullet in him. And his gun was not a .30-06.
This was high-power rifle ammo. Yeah, without any doubt.
They knew somebody else was on that land and somebody else had shot him.
Now we have to figure out who it was.
I just want you to go through everything that happened Monday.
Everybody's a suspect initially, and John Blair was there, and John Blair was interviewed.
I was at the other farm that we worked together.
Yeah. What? Shane. All right, I'm coming, man.
Did anyone see you there?
My boss.
John Blair arrived shortly after law enforcement, and he informed some of the first officers that he had received a call from Shane that morning.
Shane!
All right, man, hey, I'm just gonna need you to stay back here.
I'm his friend. I work here. Shane's
I understand.
my friend.
Just give him a second, all right?
Shane and his friend John Blair, they'd known each other for a long time.
They did everything together. They had a very close friendship, as close as, two friends can be.
He was at all of our Christmases, at our Thanksgivings. He was just part of the family.
Usually, I'd do one farm and Shane would do the other farm. Then we'd meet up at whichever farm we needed to do the extra work at that day. Then get the job done as fast as we could. That way we could go hunt or fish or whatever we want to do the rest of the day.
John and Shane seemed like they were friends. They got along. But police, well, they know that friends can sometimes turn on each other.
Do you own any weapons?
Of course I own weapons.
Did you and Shane argue recently?
Come on, man, this is ridiculous.
John Blair was there, and was it possible that they had an argument that day?
Do you really think I have anything to do with this?
If he called you and told you that he'd shot himself, why didn't you just call 911 yourself?
John Blair is a friend of Shane's, and he's also a co-worker. They both work for the same sheep farmer tending to these sheep.
Do you really think I have anything to do with this?
If he called you and told you that he'd shot himself, why didn't you just call 911 yourself?
I don't know. I was freaked out, all right? I called his mom, and I went to the farm as fast as I could.
Yeah. What? Shane.
And I told Shane, call 911, I'm on my way.
All right, I'm coming, man.
Me and him always had the deal, if one of us needs the other, we're there as soon as we could.
You had a second?
I conducted a follow-up.
His alibi checks out. His phone records show a call from Mr. Hill's phone.
Okay, great. Thanks. John, you're free to go.
I was shocked, I was pissed, I was dumbfounded all at the same time. I was having a hard time with it. It's traumatic. There's no doubt about that.
There was a ton of interviews to do. The first day, all the immediate family members were interviewed.
They asked me if there had been anybody that we thought would want to harm Shane. I told them no. I didn't know anybody that hated him.
Shane is very friendly and very giving. If he had it, he'd give it to you. Any of the men taking the last dollar out of his pocket.
He took a lot of pride in being a good person.
Money was not important to him, but family surely was.
The day after Shane Hill died, Jessica Hill was interviewed. There was just a lot of getting Shane's whereabouts that day.
How long had Shane been working at this particular farm?
It hasn't been a long time. I don't know, maybe a few months, 3, 4, maybe.
Jessica, during the first interview, really didn't show much emotion. She was really very stoic, but she could have been in shock because it was just a couple hours after she'd received the news that Shane had passed away.
Okay, so you've been working there for a while now.
Yeah, if you ask John Blair, he was working there first, best friend.
Mm-hmm.
He got Shane hired on.
Obviously, we knew she wasn't at the scene because she was with Shane's mother at their residence, but we were just trying to get a rundown of his general mood, any conversations that they had recently.
One of the detectives knew Shane and Jessica personally. He started asking about Shane's best friend, Dan Blair, and Dan is also John's little brother.
I know they talked to you the other day about your relationship with Dan Blair.
Yeah.
Why don't we kind of go over that again?
Shane knew Dan before he even knew Jessica. I mean, they've been best friends for many years.
Oh, man. Remember last time we went to the lake? Dude.
I was out for a week after that.
Oh, man, it was so much fun, man. So much fun.
Danny was awesome. He'd take the shirt off his back and give it to you if you needed it. He'd give you his last dollar if you needed it. That was Danny.
Thanks for letting me move in.
Of course, come on.
I promise I'll help out with the bills, too.
I appreciate that, but seriously, it's really nice to have someone around to help out around the house, especially with me going off to work. Yeah. It's good to have you, man.
Thanks, bro.
Shane worked on the gas line down in Oklahoma for a while. He did some trucking. I didn't like going and leaving the family behind, but I mean, Danny lived there with them.
All right, I'm gonna put the kids to bed.
If they needed anything, Danny would be there to help out.
Come on. Time for bed.
Good night. Shane would be gone for extended amounts of time, then, Daniel and Jessica were there alone together.
I think they lived together long enough and was home alone enough that just one thing led to another.
Don't ever leave your best friend to take care of your kids for you because the bond grows very, very quickly. It helped me raise my children, basically, and it was very awkward and very strange.
During those interrogations, she gave the police Jessica and Daniel Blair had had an affair prior to this happening. It's his best friend. It's his wife.
Jessica was saying that back in 2005, that she and Dan actually thought Shane was on a trucking run.
Shane got real suspicious, but he left. So she thought.
What the hell? Whoa, Shane, bud. Man. I'm gone 10 minutes! I'm sorry, dude. My kids are in the other damn room, and you're in here with her. Scott! Calm down, Shane, stop! Guys, stop! Just go! Get out!
Here's your best friend. He's supposed to step in for you while you're gone, take care of your family, but, not step into your position as husband. Daniel Blair was kicked out of the home of Jessica and Shane Hill.
They loved each other like brothers for so long, and then I basically come in and screwed the whole thing up.
Shane and Jesse had split up for 6 months after Shane caught Danny and her together on the farm and they had the fight.
He was completely heartbroken. He still loved her. There was no question there.
I honestly don't think Shane ever really felt like it was Jessica's fault. It was easy for him to place all the blame on Danny and himself. He loved his wife, and it was tearing him up being away from his kids.
They definitely were trying to work through things, and Shane was doing the best he could. He had really made a huge effort at that time.
I was trying to get on with my life with my husband and my kids.
He was a family man from the word go.
He enjoyed being a dad. He was there to take care of everybody. So they were back to where they needed to be.
They were living happily ever after again. There were no problems within the marriage.
You know, I was very positive, very sure that I made the right choice going back to my husband.
She indicated that the affair had been over with for some time and that her and Shane had a very loving and good relationship.
They were trying to be friends. I think they patched it up nice and everything was good.
We were aware of the fact that Jessica had at one point had a relationship with Dan Blair. So we just wanted to get the story from Dan to figure out where he was that day so we could nail down all the details of an alibi or this or that. Dan Blair was interviewed on day 2. He was tracked down by Detective Kendall.
You own any firearms? No. Okay. You ever had any reason to dislike Shane Hill?
No, not really.
You ever gotten any physical altercations with him?
3 years ago, when he got me with his wife.
What the hell is going on? Yeah!
Have you had any contact with him since?
2005, we kind of made peace and we went out hunting together for shotgun season.
Danny had every opportunity to shoot him in the woods. And he didn't shoot him.
Danny's kind of like Shane, you know, if he needed something, he was there to help out, and he was Shane's best friend.
Hey, was your roommate home Saturday?
Saturday, he worked over the road with me, and he quit his job at the same time I did.
Okay. What's his name again?
Aaron Moss.
So you both quit at the same time?
He indicated that he was nowhere near that crime scene that day.
We went up to Wilson's, shoot a couple games of pool.
You ready to get the ass beaten, bull?
Anybody see you in there?
There was a few people up there. Not a lot of them.
You know who the bartender was?
Magnum. That's all I know about is Magnum.
When Daniel Blair was kicked out of the home of Jessica and Shane Hill, he went to live with Aaron Moss. And, you know, that was his new best friend.
Can I get beer too? Oh, yeah.
He wasn't out there at the sheep farm and had no reason to hurt Shane Hill.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks for coming in, Dan.
You're welcome, Danny.
I've known Danny for a long time. We knew that Danny didn't pull the trigger. That wasn't Danny. He couldn't do it. There's no way he would have done it.
This isn't the end of the story. This chapter hasn't been written yet.
What is the emergency?
911 calls are significant in a lot of ways because we're gleaning information from what the victim is telling us as to what's going on at the scene. But secondly, it also plays into the timing of the whole event because we have those times logged, the duration of each call, and what time those calls were placed.
Give a shot. What's your location?
There was an anticipation that we were going to release the 911 calls to the media. And we wanted the family to hear the 911 calls before the media, so we played the audio for them.
We just thought it was best if you hear it with us first. It's okay with you, I'd like to play it for you.
I'd love to pack up. Oh, I gotta go.
No, stay in line, sir.
Oh, no.
It was horrible. As soon as I heard Shane's voice and heard what he said, you know, oh my God, hurry. It's hurt so bad, help me. And I lost it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Patty is so upset she can't even listen to the end. This is the last time she's hearing her son's voice.
The most horrific part, I guess, is to listen to your brother say, oh, knowing that that's the last time, when you can count them in your head and you already know that the next one is the last one, and then he's no longer there. That's where it gets difficult.
Questions were asked if they believed Dan Blair would ever do anything to hurt Shane, and the answer was no, he wouldn't do that.
No way Danny had the balls to do it. Sorry, that's just the way it is.
We have more additional interviews to do.
Okay, was your roommate home Saturday? What's his name again?
Aaron Moss.
Aaron's name came up when we did some initial background on Dan Blair to figure out where he was living, and he was living at this older home that he was renting in Boone with Aaron Moss. Aaron and Dan Blair, they were pretty much inseparable. They went everywhere together. They were at social events together. They worked together.
The time is 1:14 on the 1st of June, 2007. I'm here with Aaron Moss. All right. You know why you're here today? Or you believe so. What's your relationship with Shane? Didn't know the guy. I've never met him ever.
Aaron denied any involvement in this and said he's obviously friends with Dan Blair, but he doesn't know Shane Hill. He's never met Shane Hill. He wouldn't have any reason to hurt Shane. And so he basically said he had no more information to give.
I'm ending this interview at 2:23 on the 1st of June.
Jessica had been using the laptop in my kitchen on the table. Jessica wasn't there. I just went over and got on the computer. And as soon as I opened up, there was a message on there from Danny Blair that said, you don't have to worry about it. He's not ever coming back. It was devastating.
Patty actually picked that laptop up and brought it to the sheriff's office. There certainly seemed to be a longing for each other and a kind of a miss you and I love you kind of messages going back and forth, which was completely not the story that we were getting just a day before.
Jessica had indicated that there was no affair, and so that was obviously important information to find out that those two were still involved and look at that as far as a motive.
Obviously, Jessica has more information than what she's telling us, so we asked her to come back to the sheriff's office. She didn't know that we had additional information about the relationship. And so when she was presented with that information, obviously the tone of her interview changed, and then she started to give more details.
Our belief is that you had more contact with him, that there were more.
We did talk all the time.
How often in the last 6 months have you had a sexual relationship with him?
How often? I couldn't say for sure.
She starts to talk about how she had given Dan Blair all these complaints about living with Shane and how she wished that he would disappear.
What would you complain about, or?
Oh, him being an ass. He makes me feel like all I'm there for is sex. Him not being grateful.
What exactly have you said?
And I just wish he wouldn't come home. And I wouldn't have to worry about everything anymore. It's one of those things that you don't really mean what you say. But I never thought anything would ever come of it.
She indicated that she would just like him to leave and never come back. And she wishes there was a way to get rid of Shane.
Did you make any phone calls at that moment?
Yeah, I texted Dan to see what he was doing.
Yeah. What did you say in that text?
I said he finally left work. He did ask me what he was driving. I said, the white car.
That morning, there were communications between Jessica and Daniel about Shane going to work, and she told him when he left and what he was driving.
I never told him that I wanted him dead. I always told him it would just be so much easier if he wasn't there.
And he loves you, right?
I feel he does.
He's the type of guy that'd probably do anything for you.
He always said he would.
We sent officers over to his house, knocked on the door and asked him to come down to the sheriff's office for an additional interview, which he agreed to do.
Well, Dan, we are looking at the full picture. And you are involved in the shooting of Shane. Okay? How? Dan, listen to me, okay? This is not something that I think that you saw yourself involved in, okay? But I think that you allowed your emotions, your love for Jessica. Okay, you love Jessica, don't you?
I've always loved her.
Okay. You had strong feelings for her. You told people that you had strong feelings for her.
Yeah.
He's not giving a lot of information at the onset of the interview, but then he starts to give more information when he starts to realize the tone of this interview is that we have more information. So he begins to give up a lot of the story.
I couldn't shoot Shane because even though we had our problems, I still love him like a brother.
Okay. Who did you have shoot Shane?
I didn't have no one.
Who was with you on that morning? Did Aaron Moss go out there with you, Dan?
Who was with you that day?
Dan, the cat's out of the bag. Was it Aaron?
Yeah.
He went with you?
Aaron's the one that did everything.
If Danny was involved at that point, Aaron would have been too. Aaron and Danny were inseparable for that month and a half or 2 months, you know. They didn't go anywhere without each other.
That morning, there were communications between Jessica and Daniel about Shane going to work, and she told him when he left and what he was driving. So the communication was he's going to be there, and those folks were laying in wait.
Shane pulled up for a wild dog or some kind of a predator and was going to take a shot. When he pulled the trigger, so did they. Completely masked the sound of their gun by him pulling the trigger of his own.
I shot myself. I don't know, the gun just went off. I was going after a dog and my gun went off and I can't move.
He's still alive. What? He's on the phone.
The plan was to make sure nobody knew that they were even out there. So they knew they had to do something. And so then they got a little closer and Aaron took a second shot.
Okay, you appear to be are you in Green County, sir?
I know.
Sir?
Sir, the bridge is going up again, please, Eric. Oh my God. The bridge is on my fucking arm. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Aaron Moss never admitted to anything. That was a difficult question for us to figure out why he would do it. Well, he said he'd do anything for his friend Daniel, and that's what he did.
I think that it was just that Danny said he had a problem, and Aaron said, I'll take care of it.
The morning of the funeral was when I heard that they had pulled Danny and Aaron in.
We were waiting to find out if they were gonna come and get Jessica.
We wanted to get to her quickly before she had an opportunity to flee or do anything else. I don't recall ever arresting a widow at her husband's funeral before, but you know, obviously her role in this is very significant.
If it hadn't have been for her, none of this would have happened. She could have called it off at any time, and she didn't.
Jessica had set this wheel rolling downhill.
There's no doubt in my mind it all stemmed from Jessica, 100%.
She played Danny like a fiddle. Danny fell in love with her, and Danny would have done anything for her, just like Shane did.